France, early 15th century. A nation bleeds, fractured by the relentless Hundred Years' War. The English grip tightens, hope dwindles, and the rightful French king, the Dauphin Charles, remains uncrowned, his legitimacy questioned. Defeat seems inevitable. From the ashes of despair, however, arises the most improbable of saviors, a peasant girl from Domremy named Joan. Barely 17, uneducated, yet claiming divine guidance. Could this simple maid truly be France's last hope? Or was she merely a delusion born of desperate times? Joan spoke of voices, Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, Saint Margaret, commanding her to save France. They urged her to drive out the English and see the Dauphin crowned king in the sacred city of Reims. Imagine the scene. A young woman convinced of a heavenly mandate, embarking on a perilous journey through enemy territory. Her conviction was absolute, her faith unshakable. She sought out Robert de Baudricourt, the garrison commander in nearby Vaucouleurs, pleading for an escort to the Dauphin's court at Chinon. Initially dismissed, her persistence, coupled with an uncanny prediction of a French defeat, finally swayed him. He granted her passage, famously remarking, "Go and let come what may." Arriving at Chinon, Joan faced a court steeped in skepticism and intrigue. The Dauphin, wary of plots and false prophets, tested her. Legend tells he disguised himself amongst his courtiers, yet Joan, guided by her voices, identified him immediately, kneeling before him. She spoke of her mission with unwavering certainty, promising him victory and his coronation. Still, doubts lingered. Charles subjected her to lengthy examinations by theologians in Poitiers. They probed her faith, her visions, her character. Against expectations, she impressed them with her piety, wit, and simple honesty. Convinced, or perhaps desperate enough to gamble, Charles granted her request, command of an army to relieve the besieged city of Orléans. The situation at Orléans was dire. The city, key to controlling the Loire Valley, had been under English siege for months. French morale was shattered. Then came Joan, dressed in white armor, riding a white horse, carrying a banner bearing the names of Jesus and Mary. Her arrival electrified the beleaguered defenders. She wasn't a seasoned general, but she possessed an aura of divine authority and infectious courage. She led from the front, participating in skirmishes, inspiring the soldiers with her presence and prayers. Against all odds, within just 9 days of her arrival, the English siege was broken. The Tourelle, a key English fortress, fell in a fierce assault where Joan herself was wounded by an arrow, but returned to rally her troops. The victory at Orléans was a staggering psychological blow to the English and a monumental boost for the French cause. It was the turning point. Joan became the Maid of Orléans, a symbol of hope and divine intervention. Following Orléans, Joan urged an immediate march to Reims. The path lay deep within enemy-held territory, a daunting prospect. Yet fueled by the momentum of their victory and Joan's unwavering resolve, the French army advanced. Towns like Jargeau, Meung-sur-Loire, and Beaugency fell in rapid succession during the Loire campaign. The English suffered another crushing defeat at the Battle of Patay, shattering the myth of their invincibility in open battle. The march to Reims became almost a triumphal procession, towns opening their gates without resistance. On July 17, 1429, Charles VII was crowned King of France in Reims Cathedral, with Joan standing proudly beside him. Her primary mission, as dictated by her voices, was accomplished, but the war was far from over. After the coronation, the political landscape shifted. King Charles VII, now secure on his throne, favored diplomacy and consolidation over continued aggressive warfare, often clashing with Joan's desire to press the advantage and liberate Paris. Factions at court grew jealous of her influence. Her military fortunes began to wane. An assault on Paris failed. In May 1430, during a skirmish outside the town of Compiègne, Joan was ambushed and captured by Burgundian troops, allies of the English. The Burgundians saw her value and, after months of negotiations, sold her to the English for a hefty sum. The English sought not just to neutralize a military threat, but to discredit King Charles VII by proving his champion was a heretic, a witch, guided not by God, but by the devil. They orchestrated a trial in Rouen, presided over by pro-English clergy led by Bishop Pierre Cochon. It was a political show trial from the start. Joan, imprisoned often in chains, faced learned theologians alone without legal counsel. For months she endured relentless questioning, theological traps, and threats. Yet she answered with remarkable courage, intelligence, and steadfast faith, often confounding her accusers. They fixated on her male clothing, deemed an abomination, and the nature of her voices. Under immense pressure, possibly illness, and the threat of immediate execution, she briefly signed an abjuration, renouncing her visions and agreeing to wear women's clothes. However, days later, whether through defiance or trickery by her jailers who may have removed her female attire, she resumed wearing male clothing and reaffirmed her divine guidance. This relapse sealed her fate. Declared a relapsed heretic, Joan of Arc was condemned to death. On May 30th, 1431, in the marketplace of Rouen, the 19-year-old girl who had saved France was burned at the stake. Eyewitnesses reported she faced her end with bravery, calling on the name of Jesus until her last breath. Her ashes were scattered into the Seine River. But Joan's story did not end in the flames. Her execution caused widespread outrage. Years later, King Charles VII, having secured his kingdom, ordered a posthumous retrial. In 1456, the original verdict was annulled. Joan was declared innocent, a martyr. Centuries passed, and her legend grew. She became a symbol of French nationalism, faith, and courage against impossible odds. In 1920, Joan of Arc was canonized as a saint by the Roman Catholic Church. Her life remains a potent blend of history, faith, and mystery. Was she truly divinely inspired, a military prodigy, or a product of her tumultuous times? Whatever the answer, the Maid of Orléans forever changed the course of French history. Subscribe.